The document Evidence Clearly Seen by Eugene Glenn is a comprehensive text discussing the relationship between evidence seen within the complexity of what is made and the corresponding level of cognitive abilities that were required to make it. The author, Eugene Glenn, focuses on the idea that the scientific method and empirical evidence can be used to make scientific predictions, arguing that the complexity found in nature, from the cellular level to the structure of the universe, points to the existence of an intelligent agent designer. Key points from the document include identification of the God of the Bible. This may be the only book on intelligent design that identifies the God of the Bible as the creator, citing evidence from human history, cellular complexity, quantum physics, and the structure of the universe. The text begins with a reference to Romans 19-20, suggesting that the existence and attributes of God are evident in the natural world. The text asserts that the complexity found in nature corresponds to and is proportional to the minimum cognitive abilities required to create such complexity. This idea is used to argue for the existence of an intelligent designer. Evidence is clearly seen of God throughout human history, as everyone worldwide knows that this year marks 2025 years after a very monumental even within human history that centers around a specific Jewish person, where his life, death, and resurrection was predicted over 1,000 years in advance. Evidence is clearly seen of God within his sacrificial love for us. While we were yet sinners, Jesus Christ died for us. Evidence is clearly seen of God within biblical teachings of fair standards. A common symbol in American courts are known as the scales of justice. The symbol typically depicts a blindfolded person holding a balanced scale, with one pan suspended from each side. The engravings can be found in various locations throughout American courthouses, including on walls, doors, furniture, and even in the artwork hanging on the walls. The scales of justice symbolize the concept of fairness and impartiality in the legal system. The blindfolded figure represents impartiality, indicating that justice should be served without bias or prejudice. The scales represent the weighing of evidence and the balance of different arguments or perspectives in a legal case. The idea is that justice should be blind to all factors except the merits of the case itself, and that a fair judgment can only be reached by weighing all of the evidence on an even scale. God is the origin of fair standards and equity, and detests bias, discrimination, favoritism, and prejudice, and he forbids having more than one set of standards. True justice demands enforcement of a single standard for all. We call it equal justice under the law. Evidence is clearly seen about God within the watchmaker argument, and the document expands upon it by newly developing, introducing, and discussing the complexity versus intelligence equation, APIC-C minimum IQ required, where A stands for accuracy, P for precision, IC for irreducible complexity, and SC for specified complexity. This new equation suggests that the cognitive abilities required to create something complex are proportional to the intricacy, precision, and complexity of the object or system in question. The document argues that this equation is intuitively used to recognize intelligent design. It posits that by examining evidence for each variable, A, P, IC, SC, and comparing them to levels found in modern technologies, one can determine if the evidence points to cognitive abilities above or below human levels. This may be the only book on intelligent design that uses the scientific method to make predictions for creation and intelligent design for the God hypothesis. The author presents ID versus abiogenesis scientific predictions. The mechanisms in the context of intelligent design, ID, and abiogenesis hypotheses offer contrasting views on the origins of this fundamental biological process. Analyzing these views involves understanding their theoretical underpinnings and how empirical testing could potentially support or challenge each hypothesis. Testing and falsification tests in abiogenesis. Context. If experiments under early Earth-like conditions repeatedly and independently yield simple systems that evolve into more complex forms, it would support abiogenesis. Finding precursor molecules or systems that could plausibly evolve into modern systems would also support this hypothesis. Tests in ID context. Discovery of mechanisms that are irreducibly complex or exhibit hallmarks of design, such as unmistakable signs of foresight or planning, would lend support to ID. Falsification. For ID, demonstrating a plausible natural pathway for the evolution of mechanisms from simple to complex could challenge the necessity of a designer. For abiogenesis, finding no plausible natural precursors or pathways for the evolution of complex mechanisms, even under varied and extensive experimental conditions, could challenge abiogenesis. Importance of size, scale differences. The author shows why the difference in scale between relatively very large wristwatch mechanisms versus the extremely small cellular machinery has profound implications for design and functionality. At the nanoscale, quantum effects become significant, and the behavior of materials can differ dramatically from the macro scale. Moreover, the ability of biological molecules to exhibit high specificity and catalytic efficiency is closely tied to their nanoscale dimensions and intricate three-dimensional structures. These features enable the diverse and complex behaviors of living systems, which are challenging to replicate in synthetic systems at any scale. This nanotechnology scale design further highlights the extreme cognitive abilities of God over even the most advanced modern human technologies. Technologies for construction at the micro and nanoscale. The document highlights the vast difference between constructing mechanisms at the scale of wristwatches, micrometer scale, and the molecular machinery within cells, nanometer scale. While mechanical engineering techniques allow for the precise fabrication of components at the microscale, constructing functional molecular systems at the nanoscale requires approaches from chemistry, molecular biology, and nanotechnology. Techniques such as DNA origami, protein engineering, and self-assembling nanomaterials are not capable of replicating the complexity and functionality of cellular machinery. The document delves into the fundamentals of quantum physics, or quantum mechanics, and its implications. It begins by explaining key concepts of quantum physics, including wave-particle duality, quantization, the uncertainty principle, superposition, entanglement, and probability and wave functions. These principles are foundational to modern physics and have led to significant technological advancements and philosophical inquiries. This quantum physics scale design of the universe further highlights the utmost extreme cognitive abilities of God over even the most advanced modern human technologies. It also discusses the structure of atoms, including their components like protons, neutrons, and electrons, and the role of quantum mechanics in explaining atomic behavior. It covers aspects such as the nucleus, electrons, atomic behavior, and the quantum nature of atoms. Additionally, it touches on topics like stable and radioactive isotopes, the nature of protons, and their role in the atom. It explores the composition of protons, including quarks and gluons, and the theory of quantum chromodynamics, QCD. It further addresses the intersection of quantum physics with biology, particularly in phenomena like bird navigation using quantum physics and the human sense of smell. It suggests that quantum mechanics may play a role in these biological processes. It also explores quantum computing, explaining its key concepts, such as quantum bits, qubits, entanglement, quantum gates and circuits, parallelism, decoherence, error correction, and potential applications. Critique of naturalistic explanations. The text challenges naturalistic explanations for the origin of life, suggesting that they fail to account for the complexity and specificity observed in biological systems. Bias and prejudice in science. Glenn criticizes bias and prejudice in the scientific community, particularly against ideas of intelligent design and creationism. The document provides a detailed exploration of the author's views on the intersection of science and religion, particularly focusing on arguments supporting the idea of a creator based on the complexity of the natural world. The main point is about the level of cognitive sophistication required for such tasks, irrespective of whether the agent is human or not. This level of cognitive ability, involving complex planning, detailed understanding, and intricate communication, is used as a standard to evaluate what kind of agent could produce such work. In the context of the discussion, these abilities are considered advanced because they exceed the known capabilities of simpler cognitive processes and undirected chance, which are typically not associated with creating high complexity and high specificity outcomes. These statements about cognitive abilities are meant to be universally applicable to any agent capable of producing such complex and precise work. Emphasizes that the identification of an intelligent cause, including the complexity observed in biological systems or the creation of a wristwatch, does not depend on the realm, but rather on recognizing capabilities for complex thought, invention, and creativity, indicative of human-level or higher cognitive abilities. This understanding aligns with recognizing intelligent design based on the attributes of the design itself, rather than presupposing the nature or realm of the designer. Quoting from AI, ChatGPT. The main point, as you correctly noted, is about the level of cognitive sophistication required for such tasks, irrespective of whether the agent is human or not. This level of cognitive ability, involving complex planning, detailed understanding, and intricate communication, is used as a standard to evaluate what kind of agent could produce such work. In the context of the discussion, these abilities are considered advanced because they exceed the known capabilities of simpler cognitive processes and undirected chance, which are typically not associated with creating high complexity and high specificity outcomes. So, to clarify, these statements about cognitive abilities are meant to be universally applicable to any agent capable of producing such complex and precise work. The identification of an intelligent cause, including the complexity observed in biological systems or the creation of a wristwatch, does not depend on the realm, but rather on recognizing capabilities for complex thought, invention, and creativity, indicative of human-level or higher cognitive abilities. This understanding aligns with recognizing intelligent design based on the attributes of the design itself, rather than presupposing the nature or realm of the designer.